Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Life and Times of College. In today's video, I'll be sharing a quick explanation of various terms and definitions mentioned in the first chapter of economics, Introduction to Micro and Macroeconomics. I'll also be sharing easy ways to remember all of this stuff in the end, so stay tuned and don't forget to subscribe. Beginning with a very basic concept, the difference between micro and macroeconomics. Both of them, to begin with, are branches of the economic subject as a whole. As the name suggests, microeconomics is a microscopic view of the economy as it studies individual units. Whereas on the other hand, macroeconomics studies the entire economy as a whole. This chapter further revolves around these very topics. It explores the scope, features, and importance of both micro as well as macroeconomics. So, without wasting any more time, let us just quickly dive into the chapter. Beginning with microeconomics, the first subtopic in microeconomics is scope or the subject matter of microeconomics. This is further divided into 3 points, which are again divided. Beginning with the first point, theory of product pricing. So, price of any commodity is determined by the supply and demand in the market. Let's say for example, if there is a commodity X and its demand is 10 pieces, but its supply is 20 pieces. So, the price of that commodity will fall since demand is less but supply is more. So, that's what theory of product pricing is all about. Theory of product pricing gets divided into two: demand analysis and supply analysis. Demand analysis studies individual consumer behavior. On the other hand, supply analysis studies individual producer behavior. The next point, theory of factor pricing. Factors that contribute to production process are studied under factor pricing. So microeconomics basically helps in determining rewards for these factors. For example, land, labor, capital, entrepreneur. All of them contribute to the production process. So what will they get in return? What will they earn in return is determined by this theory. Last but definitely not the least, theory of economic welfare. So welfare more or less means that there should be efficiency in allocation of resources. So how do you decide that whether the resources for efficiency allocated or not? If it results in maximization of satisfaction of the people, the resources were efficiently allocated. This is further divided into 3 parts. That is, the theory of economic welfare is further divided into 3 parts. First one, efficiency in production. If maximum goods and services are produced, then it leads to efficiency. It shows rather the efficiency in production. Efficiency in consumption. So in consumption, efficiency basically means that all the produced goods and services are distributed among people in such a way so as to maximize satisfaction. That is, everyone gets those goods and services. Concluding with the third subpoint in theory of economic welfare, overall economic efficiency. So production of goods which are most desired leads to overall economic efficiency. Moving on to features of microeconomics, there are 8 features of microeconomics. The very first one being study of individual units. As I mentioned earlier in the video, microeconomics is study of small individual economic units. Second, price theory. Determination of the prices of goods and services as well as factors of production is studied under this. Partial equilibrium, So equilibrium is the balance between two factors. Microeconomic analysis deals with partial equilibrium as it studies one individual economic unit at a time. It isolates all the other forces and studies the two factors affecting or influencing each other separately. Fourth point, it is based on certain assumptions. Fifth, slicing methods. So So it splits to divide the whole economy into small individual units and then studies them. Sixth point, use of marginalism principle. Marginal is basically change bought in the total by an additional unit. So this unit basically helps to study the variables through changes. 7 point, analysis of market structure. Microeconomics analyzes different market structures. And last but definitely not the least, limited scope. Scope is only limited due to individual unit. It does not basically deal with the nationwide economic problems. Last topic under microeconomics, importance of microeconomics. This is a very important question. From board point of view, that's what we have been told in class. It can be asked for 4-mark question, this topic alone. So yeah, that's that. The first point here is price determination. So microeconomics is basically the theory or the subject which explains how the prices of different products and various factors of production are determined. Second point, free market economy. Microeconomics is helping us to understand what is a free market economy, so that it basically helps us to study or know what to produce, how much of it should be produced, etc. Third point, foreign trade. Yes, it might sound a bit weird since microeconomics does not study national economy, so how can it study foreign trade? I had a similar question in my mind before I read the topic further. So, effects of tariff or taxes on a particular commodity will influence its demand, and directly or indirectly, that will ultimately lead to a difference in the overall demand. So that's how microeconomics helps in foreign trade. Economic model building. Economic models are basically simplified representations of the economic reality, and this will ultimately help in studying the overall economy and making decisions which can be helpful on a larger scale. Fifth point, there microeconomics is very helpful while taking business decisions, as it can help in calculating the cost of production, prices of goods, how to maximize output, profits, etc. It is extremely useful to government as it can help in forming taxation policies, and taxes are basically bread and butter of the government. So yeah, last point, basis of welfare economics. Microeconomics explains how best results can be obtained through optimum utilization of resources. So that will, if practiced on a larger scale, it can benefit the entire economy. Moving on to the second half of the chapter, macroeconomics. Scope of macroeconomics is divided into 4 points, and it is an important question as far as we have been told in college. It can be asked with 4-mark question. The first point is theory of income and employment. So this theory basically tries to study the factors which determine the level of national income and employment. What are the features which lead to fluctuations in the level of income, output, and employment? This theory further gets divided into two: theory of consumption function and theory of investment function. When combined, both of these theories give us the theory of business cycles. Second point, theory of general price level and inflation. Microeconomics analyzes how the price level is determined, how the fluctuations take place in it, what are the problems created, and how they can be solved. So yeah. Third point, theory of growth and development. It consists of the causes which avoid development or which break away from development, for example, poverty, and it helps to tries to form strategies which can keep us away from all these problems. Fourth point, macro theory of distribution. So this theory deals with relative shares of rent, wages, interest, and profit in the total national income. Features of macroeconomics. Just in case you didn't know the error, please don't. First point, study of aggregates. As mentioned earlier as well, Macroeconomics does not study any particular unit, it studies the averages. Second is income theory. Macroeconomics studies the concept of national income. National income ये term बहुत बार आने वाला है macroeconomics में. So yeah, that's kind of annoying but can't help it यार. National income पे ही तो काफ़ी हद तक based है macroeconomy. Third point, general equilibrium. Unlike microeconomics, all the factors are studied while studying macroeconomics. It does not keep any factor aside. Fourth point, interdependence. Now, microeconomics studies how variables are interdependent. It does not slice away any two methods, which is basically the next point, lumping method. Unlike microeconomics, no slicing of any unit happens. It is studied as a whole. Sixth point, growth models. Microeconomics studies various factors that contribute to economic growth and development. Seventh, general price level. So, determination and changes in the price level are studied in macroeconomics. Eighth feature, it is policy oriented. It helps to frame policies and which promote economic growth, generate employment, control inflation and depression, etc. And which is the basic aim of economic development, right? Last topic of the chapter, importance of macroeconomics. This topic involves 7 points, with first one being functioning of an economy. So macroeconomics helps us understand the aggregate of variables, how this large and extremely complex system works. Second, economic fluctuations. Microeconomy helps us study how these fluctuations are caused, why are they caused, and how they can be controlled. Third point, national income. Study of macroeconomics has brought forward the immense importance of study of national income, that why it should be studied, how does it affect a common man like you and me, common person basically. Fourth point, economic development. Advanced studies in macroeconomics help us to understand the problems of developing countries and how those problems can be eradicated. Fifth point, performance of an economy. It helps us to analyze the performance over time, like is it progressing, what is happening. Sixth point, study of macroeconomic variables. It refers to any measurement which helps us to define how an economy functions. Concluding this chapter with the last point in importance of macroeconomics, level of employment. It helps us to analyze the general level of employment. What is the output which is being produced in our economy?